For the continuation of the solutions of the prerequisite check for the applications of linear functions, I want to go through these last few problems where you have to find the slope of each line and state if the slopes are the same, that is equivalent, or are they opposites, reciprocals, or negative reciprocals of each other. And so we have in number 16 the equations 5x plus 4y equals negative 4 and y equals 5/4 x plus 1. We have to solve this first equation for y to identify the slope. We have the equation 5x plus 4y equals negative 4. To solve for y, we subtract 5x, and that gives us 4y equals negative 5x minus 4. Now we divide each term of the equation by 4. So we have that y is equal to negative 5/4 x minus 1. The slope of this equation is negative 5/4. The second equation is already in slope-intercept form. It is y equals 5/4 x plus 1. Therefore, the coefficient of x, which is 5/4, is the slope. So these two equations have slopes that are just opposites of one another. Number 17 is x plus 3y equals 9 and 2x equals negative 6y plus 1. In the first equation, x plus 3y equals 9. We subtract x from each side to get 3y equals negative x plus 9. And then we divide each term of the equation by 3, and that gives us y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Therefore, the slope of this equation is negative 1/3. The second equation is 2x equals negative 6y plus 1. We need to get y on a side by itself, and so I'm going to add the 6y to make it positive on the left, and then subtract 2x, so we get 6y equals negative 2x plus 1. Now divide each term of the equation by 6. That gives us y equals negative 2/6. The negative 2/6 simplifies to negative 1/3 x plus 1/6. The slope of this line is negative 1/3. So these two equations have slopes that are the same. In number 18, our first equation is 3x minus 7y equals 21. To solve that for y, we put it as negative 7y equals negative 3x plus 21. And now we need y by itself, so we divide by the coefficient of negative 7. Therefore, y is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 7 is positive 3/7 x. And then 21 divided by negative 7 gives us a minus 3. Therefore, the slope of this line is 3/7. The second equation is 14x plus 6y equals 6. To solve for y, we subtract 14x to get 6y equals negative 14x plus 6. And now we divide each term by 6. Negative 14 divided by 6 simplifies to negative 7/3 x plus 6 divided by 6 is 1. Therefore, the slope of this line is a coefficient of x, which is negative 7/3. And when we compare negative 7/3 and 3/7, we find that they are negative reciprocals. In number 19, the first equation is already in slope-intercept form. We have y equals 1/2 x minus 5. The coefficient of x then is the slope, which is 1/2. The second equation is 2x plus y equals negative 6. To solve for y, we subtract 2x from each side to get y equals negative 2x minus 6. The slope of this equation is a coefficient of x, which is negative 2. Comparing 1/2 and negative 2, notice that they are negative reciprocals of one another. So recall that means that the signs are opposite and the fractions are inverted or flipped. In number 20, our first equation is 2x plus y equals 4. To solve for y, we subtract 2x to get y equals negative 2x plus 4. The slope then is the coefficient of x, negative 2. The second equation is x plus 2y equals negative 6. We subtract x from each side to get 2y equals negative x minus 6. And then divide each side by 2. In dividing by 2, we get that y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 3. The slope then is negative 1/2. So how do negative 2 and negative 1/2 relate? They are the same signs. So they're not opposites or negative reciprocals, but they are actually reciprocals of each other. And so that's all we can say about those values. In number 21, we have a pair of equations, x equals 7 and y equals 3. X equals 7, if you recall, is the equation of a vertical line whose x values are all 7, right? So it's a vertical line through x equals 7. When we find the slope is undefined. And that's because if you remember change in y divided by change in x, the change in x between any 2 points on the line is 0, so we can't divide by 0. That's undefined. And then y equals 3. This is the equation of a horizontal line. And the slope of a horizontal line is 0. We can actually think of y equals 3 as y equals 0x plus 3 if you want to do that. But also the change in y between any 2 points whose y values are the same is going to be 0. And 0 divided by a non-zero number is 0. So we actually have to write that the relationship between these slopes is none of these because one of those is an undefined value. Now the lines are in fact vertical and horizontal are perpendicular to each other, so when you get to that section in the college algebra content, you'll be able to say they are perpendicular, but we can't say that their slopes relate in any specific way because, again, one value is undefined.